I never forget. I gave black seed oil to one of my aunts, and she was like immediately like, "Oh, Stacey, this tastes like auto oil, whatever she said it tasted like." I'm like, "Well,
AutoZone
have you
tastes
ever?"
like something out
Yeah,
of AutoZone.
auto. I'm like, "Have you ever
Well, that's why
tasted
you do the
some
Manuka honey
gasoline?"
first. You do the Manuka honey and then the black seed oil.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Brewer Report, where we talk about all things nutrition and health. Today, we are going to talk about the flu that's happening, just the widespread flu that's been hitting a lot of people here in the US, quite significant numbers. In fact, reports are saying that we've hit a 15-year high. I think the last time we've had numbers like this was back in 2009 when we were dealing with the swine flu epidemic. But now, we're facing similar numbers where there's millions of people dealing with the flu, believe it's close to 30 million, if not over 30 million. There's hundreds of thousands of hospitalizations, and there have even been deaths, including young children. So it's very serious right now what's happening with the flu. And I have to admit that even I've personally have heard and seen many people deal with it. And it does seem more than usual. And even with these numbers versus 15 years ago, there are actually, even though there were millions more people who were dealing with the flu 15 years ago, there were actually less hospitalizations 15 years ago and less deaths. So it's very interesting that now more people are succumbing to this particular virus. And one thing we want to make clear is today we're going to talk about some natural ways you can prevent yourself from getting the flu, use in addition to the traditional medicines that you may be taking. And as always, please consult your medical or your health provider. Always, in our opinion, take your flu shots, your vaccines. We are not anti-vaccinators here or anti-vaccines here. Well, definitely take your vaccines. So, do things the traditional way, of course, to prevent getting the flu. But today we are going to talk about different ways to prevent it or treat it. So sometimes you can minimize some of those symptoms with some of the, I guess, natural medicines that we are going to mention today. So some of those natural remedies we're going to mention today include black seed oil, which is very popular in certain cultures, particularly the Muslim culture. In fact, I believe Prophet Muhammad was famous for saying that it can cure all diseases. Now, of course, we can't sit here and claim that, but that is a famous quote of his. So that may be why black seed oil is very popular in that culture. And then there's also Manuka honey we're going to talk about. And we're also going to do a kind of double back to talking about teas, such as green tea and hibiscus tea, in ways that can prevent you getting the flu. So I'm going to move it over to my father. He's going to talk more about the science of some of these things. So let's start with the teas, green tea and hibiscus tea, our favorites. So, uh, Daddy, go ahead and take it away with that.
Okay, so one of the things that we found out is that we weren't getting colds and the flu. Now, we did get infected by COVID in 2021, but overall, we are just basically cold and flu free. And so we said, wait a minute, what is going on? What is it in our regimen that's keeping us from getting the cold and flu? Now, we obviously understand some of the science and self-defense. As we talked about in a previous podcast about matcha green tea and a squeezed lemon, which lemons are very high in antioxidants, and obviously matcha green tea with the EGCG, the epigallocatechin gallate antioxidant, is a very powerful antioxidant. So we kick off the morning. We have told everybody you kick off your morning, You drink your matcha green tea, you drink it on an empty stomach so that your body absorbs the EGCG. And so we said, wait a minute, what's going on with this in terms of the flu? Now we know it can help fight cancer, but what about the flu? Well, it found out that if you drink it, it prevents the flu viruses from sticking to your throat cells. And in
Amazing.
the sort of the ultimate research, which is called a meta-analysis, which is a combination of studies, they found that the students who drank 1 to 3 cups of green tea per day had a 38% lower chance of getting the flu. Who knew? Well, we knew to just by chance, simply because that's a part of our daily routine. And then
Thank God.
we're going to talk more about something else that we do in terms of teas and black seed oil. Like what did Muhammad say, Stacey? Black seed oil
That it
does
can
what?
cure all diseases. That it
It's
cures all
everything but
diseases,
death.
but death. Yeah, that is the added to the quote.
I know. I said, my
Yeah.
God. So anyway, so that's the one thing. So we're looking at our daily routine. So we haven't had, and I'm not knock on wood. Now, as Stacey said, you talk to your doctor, you lead with the vaccines, you lead with the flu shots. We are vaccine up and we are flu shot up. Period. Okay.
Yeah.
But this virus is out of control right now. It's a 15-year high. Actually, we've had more deaths than we did during the previous flu, during the swine flu, and that was horrible.
Yes. Now, teas, we definitely go heavy with that. Did you want to talk also about, we talked about the green tea. Did you want to talk also about hibiscus tea?
Right. Well, hibiscus tea is the highest antioxidant beverage. We've already covered that. And so what they found is that hibiscus tea also lowers your risk of getting influenza, and but more importantly, lowers your risk of becoming seriously ill because of influenza. Now that's what one study showed. And so it's like I say, it's the highest antioxidant beverage. Now, what do? We drink the green tea in the morning and sometimes mid-afternoon, and then we drink the hibiscus tea later in the afternoon with our meals. So we know that we're getting the two highest antioxidant beverages into our system. Antioxidants equal a fight against viruses and bacteria. So once you incorporate those things into your daily routine, in essence, you basically are basically preventing. This is like prevention. Like I said, the EGCG in the green tea keeps the virus from sticking to your throat cells. Okay, but you sometimes got to do a little bit more. So let's get into some of those other things.
Yeah. So let's first move to the black seed oil that you mentioned, or, we talked about what Muhammad said. Maybe he needs to add hibiscus tea to his quote. But let's talk
Yeah, maybe.
about,
Yeah, we need to go
because I
raise
mean,
him from the dead and say, "Look here, homeboy, you need to do this."
yeah, maybe he add hibiscus tea, because hibiscus tea seems to just, like you said, it's the highest antioxidant beverage. But let's talk about
Right.
black seed oil a bit. What's the science behind it?
Well, backseat oil is an has anti-inflammatory um, properties. In other words, it has been shown to as a promising treatment for asthma. So what is the flu? It's influenza. It affects the lungs. It affects your ability to breathe. Okay. So black seed oil improves your breathing. And so they found that people who took 500 milligrams, a couple of teaspoons a day for 4 weeks, improved what they call their asthma control test scores. And they basically didn't have as much shortness of breath. Now, anecdotally, my neighbor's daughter took some black seed oil. She had asthma. Guess what? It basically mitigated a lot of her symptoms. Now, that's anecdotal,
Amazing.
but it is consistent with this 2019 study. Okay. The other study was COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and researchers found that a small group who took some cold pressed black seed oil twice a day for 3 months experience better pulmonary function. So you know if this thing is helping your respiratory system, which influenza attacks, then in essence, black seed oil will help you with influenza. And that's what the
Yes.
studies are saying.
Yes.
So that's why we do black seed oil on a routine basis, especially what I call the first sneeze. The first sneeze. And then we obviously do something else. We add some other things as well.
But real quick about black seed oil. Definitely, again, consult your doctor before consuming it because it can interfere with certain medications, particularly blood thinners. I've been very open about my incident, really over 5 years ago now. I had to be careful when taking black seed oil because at that time I was on blood thinners. So I had to consult with my doctor about taking it. Obviously, if you're pregnant, all these different things, it's been said, still talk to your doctor before consuming it. But what my father's speaking on, that's what the studies are saying. But what black seed oils would you recommend?
Well, I like Amazing Herbs, which is a good, you know, relatively moderately cost black seed oil. But the best is Perfect Press by Activation Products. Because if you looked at the difference, you can tell the Amazing Herb is, a light colored black seed oil, but the Perfect Press is a dark color because they actually have the actual seeds that are ground up in the oil. So that is
Mhm.
that is the one that we use. A little bit more expensive, but clearly
It
the
is.
best.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to pay. Look, one of my cousins says that. He's like, your health is worth it sometimes to pay a little extra for. So, amazing herbs is
Hmm.
good too, though. Because look, I'm not in anyone's pockets, but if you can afford it, definitely Perfect Press is more premium for sure, especially when you see the
Definitely.
difference.
It's a higher
Yeah.
quality. You have to shake it real well.
Yeah. So, and actually, well, I never forget, I gave black seed oil to one of my aunts, and she was like, immediately, like, oh, Stacey, this tastes like auto oil, whatever she said it tasted like. I'm like, well,
AutoZone.
have you
Tastes
ever,
like something out
yeah,
of AutoZone.
autos. I'm like, have you ever
Well, that's why
tasted
you do the
some
Manuka honey
gasoline?
first. You do the Manuka honey and then the black seed oil.
I was like, have you ever tasted gasoline? How do you know? But anyway, but it can have somewhat of a strong taste. So, for me, again, I've said this, I have a very high tolerance, obviously, for certain foods. So it doesn't bother me. That's why I just gave it
You
to
can
her
always put it
all
in a little juice
casually.
too.
I was so
Yeah.
shocked by her reaction. I gave it to her so casually because for me, no big deal. But I recognize everyone has a different tolerance. So just recognize that. But again, like my father said, you're really only supposed to be taking a teaspoon. So, you're not taking a lot. But the Manuka honey or, that does alleviate some of that taste. Or I guess what my father's saying, maybe in some juice. But yeah, that's just a little warning
Yeah, lead
that
with
it
the
may taste.
honey. And then
Yeah.
the black seed oil.
And let me just add, like with my aunt, once I gave her that black seed oil, even though she was like, "Oh my goodness," with the taste, because she had a little cough. That's why I gave it to her. Do you know her cough went completely away for the rest of her trip visiting us? So that black seed oil, even though it was
Like
nasty to
Muhammad
her,
said, it
it
cures
helped.
everything except death.
Exactly, it helped. So that's the black seed oil, but let's move on to Manuka honey. That's another powerful antiviral remedy.
Yes, yes. When COVID hit, old research brewer here said, wait a minute. Let's look and see what countries have the lowest death rates in the world for COVID. And so, sure and behold, New Zealand had the lowest death rate, and this is after the whole COVID epidemic to this day, has the lowest death rate of any nation per capita in the world. I said, well, wait a minute, what's going on down there? And it turns out that New Zealand makes this phenomenal honey called Manuka honey. It is antiviral and antibacterial. And when COVID hit, Manuka honey sales soared. In fact, New Zealand went from 300,000 beehives to over 1 million beehives, and they started
Wow.
shipping Manuka honey around the world. And of course,
Amazing.
they were taking it big time. Okay. And so we started incorporating Manuka honey into our daily regimen and into our regimen. Now, we didn't have to take it every day. I call it that first sneeze. Now, you have to, Manuka honey has a rating system or a grading system. And so various grades have more viral and antibacterial properties. So we buy, it's called unique Manuka factor or UMF. It goes down to like 12, 15, 20, and higher. But there's also another uh, antiviral, antibacterial element called methyl glyoxal, which they call MGO. So they kind of married the two because one measures a bunch of other Manuka honey factors, and one just measures the MGO. And so we get UMF 15 slant MGO 514.
And we'll put
UMF
some
20,
in the
I mean
right.
15 and MGO 514. If we really get a sneeze, we're going to jump to UMF 20 and MGO 800 plus. Now, you don't have to take this every day. I tell people, put the Manuka honey into your medicine cabinet. But what we have found was during COVID, we took Manuka honey with the black seed oil.
Right. So the
It's the
combination
combination.
is a key. And we will put some of the recommended products in our description box in terms of the Manuka honeys and even the black seed oil. Matter of fact, like my father said, Manuka honey became so popular. I've seen it at Whole Foods. So it's readily available, but definitely pay attention to the numbers my father's mentioning. And the
Yeah,
combination is key.
absolutely. Well, as we've always said, it's the combinations of foods and nutrients that have this synergistic effect in combating disease and preventing disease, et cetera. And so when we got hit with COVID back in 2021, we took the Manuka honey with the black seed oil because we knew the black seed oil was good for our respiratory system. And we knew that the
It
Manuka honey was
traps.
good
Right.
as an antiviral and antibacterial honey.
Right. That
And so
honey
that's what we
traps
did.
that virus. It traps it in
Yeah,
your
it
throat or
does.
something. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we actually got some symptoms when we got COVID, but we didn't get real bad symptoms at all. And we were done in 5 days.
Yes.
Just on that combination, we were done in 5 days. And now, of course, knock on wood. Well, like I said, we led with the vaccine. Now, don't get it twisted. We led with the vaccine,
Yeah. You
and
leave
uh,
with the
and we're
vaccine.
very strong proponents that you follow the science. Don't follow the nonsense. Follow the science. What does the
Right.
science say?
Yeah. So, you know, that's the key. It's all about in conjunction with, really, and prevention. Try to live your healthiest life possible every day. Of course, it doesn't mean you'll never catch a cold, you'll never catch the flu, but at least you'll have your armor on. That's the key. You'll be ready for
That's a
battle.
good term. Armor is a good term.
Yes, you'll be
Yeah, you
ready
need
for
to you need to
battle.
arm yourself against this. I mean, this flu is bad, and
Yeah.
and so people are staying out of. I work with school children, and a couple of them are out of school for 7, 10 days.
Hmm.
Uh-uh, uh-uh.
Yeah.
That you don't have to. I mean, if you're following some of these regimens, you can mitigate the impact of the flu if you follow this regimen. And then, like I said, we've been following this regimen now for years, and knock on wood, we don't get influenza or bad symptoms of influenza, and we have not had obviously, if we do, I mean, you're going to get exposed. I was in the Uber the other day, and guess what? The Uber driver started sneezing.
Ugh.
I said, "Oh, hell no."
And we know how we were when people would sneeze during COVID.
Oh my God. I said, "No." So I immediately, when I got home, I hooked up my Manuka honey and my black seed oil. Now, there's one other elixir that we can talk about as well, if you want to talk about it. It's elderberry.
Yes, I was going to actually mention that. Like, we need to talk about elderberry, but elderberry, real quick before you speak on it, you are not actually supposed to take elderberry if you do get COVID, right? So,
No, no.
but yeah, but go ahead with the elderberry.
Now, elderberry is uh, an immune enhancing berry. Now, be careful with elderberry. You got to get elderberry that is processed properly. Do not get any elderberry that's raw because it has toxins in it. Elderberry has to be cooked and processed properly. Now, there are lots of of elderberry on the shelf that you can take. But if you get COVID, if you test positive for COVID, do not take elderberry because it may have your immune system overreact. But to prevent the flu, you can take elderberry. But again, whenever we take elderberry, we take it in combination with Manuka honey and black seed oil. It's the combination of those three things
And we
that
tend
helps
to
us
take it
to
before an
prevent
event.
help
Right,
prevent us from getting the flu and if we're exposed to it. In fact, they tell you if you're going to travel, if you're going to do air travel or whatever,
right,
take some elderberry. What we're saying is take some elderberry with some Manuka honey and some black seed oil.
right. If you
Okay?
know you're about to be
Take it.
around, one, you should take it really, you could take it every day, but uh especially if you know you're about to, like you said, travel or you're going to a party, you're about to be around a lot of people, definitely armor up with your elderberry. Black seed oil, take that every day, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, you can take 1 teaspoon, but don't get beyond 2 or 3 per
Yeah,
day. I
exactly.
would take
Yeah.
1 teaspoon and that's it. And
Yes.
nobody, you took them through some of the reasons. Okay, elderberry, not only COVID, but if you have what we call an autoimmune disease, like type 1
Hmm.
diabetes, lupus, etc., you can't take elderberry because it may overact, may cause your immune system to overreact.
See, this is why you still
Uh,
have to talk to your doctors, even
yeah,
though
you got to talk
there
to your doctor.
are,
If you're going to do
yeah,
elderberry, you definitely have to talk to your doctor about whatever underlying conditions you may have before you introduce elderberry into your system.
yes,
But elderberry, that combination, elderberry, Manuka honey, and black seed oil. Let me tell
right,
you, if you can take elderberry, and if you're not on blood thinners and you can take black seed oil, that's a powerful combination in terms
hmm
of preventing the, influenza and things of that sort, or more importantly, keeping it from becoming something like what we call a kinetic storm in your body. In other
hmm
words, where it overcomes you. And so, but caution again, because one of my friends is a doctor here in Florida, and he was complaining the other day that he spent 4 hours on a guy who had the flu and was COVID positive.
wow,
I said, "Good God!" So he couldn't do elderberry. Now he could have done the Manuka honey and the black seed oil. But then again, you got to be careful with the blood thinners and all that kind of stuff. So it's you just you got to stay healthy, and
and
that's why
stay
we've been
healthy.
leading with eat your plants,
Yes,
eat your veggies,
definitely.
get
And
healthy.
exercise also move your body. Now, with
Yes,
Manuka honey, there are little, I don't want to call them candies, but what are they? You can buy those
the
as well, right?
lozenges.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah,
You can buy
one
that. And
company,
I,
Weatherspoon, makes a Manuka honey, and we'll put that down in the links. It makes a Manuka honey and an elderberry lozenge. But you can do Manuka honey lozenges as well. But we recommend
yes.
you do the actual honey.
To me, those are
Like
great
I
if
said, you
you're
put
on
it
the
in your
go.
medicine. In fact, Manuka honey is so powerful that they actually have much higher grades that you can actually put on wounds. That was another thing about Manuka honey. New Zealand used Manuka honey during World War II to heal wounds.
Amazing.
That's how powerful it is.
The earth has all we need to, I guess, cure whatever diseases or illnesses we have. That's the beauty of earth. We're still discovering certain things, that's why science and research is so important and why it needs to continue. I know we're not a political show, but it just needs to continue. I'll just say that. Because we're learning things every day about the power of the earth and what it has and what it can do for our bodies. As they say, put life into your body, don't put death into your body. And you'll, like we said, you'll be armored up for whatever comes to you. But that's our show for today. Be careful out there, cover yourself, get your shots, like we said, tap into some of these natural remedies if you can. And yeah, just live an overall healthy life. Be fueled up and ready to go. That's the key. Any closing remarks you want to make?
No, I think, I think we've covered it. We've given you sort of this daily regimen with our matcha green tea, hibiscus tea, and now we've introduced to you the Manuka honey, elderberry, and black seed oil. Of course, with elderberry, you have to be careful because if you have an autoimmune disease, you can't touch that. But
Yes.
the and the black seed oil with the blood thinners. And so,
Hmm.
but if you don't have any of those underlying conditions, you definitely want you. I think you can basically handle a teaspoon or two of Manuka honey. I mean, that is a powerful, powerful elixir.
Absolutely. But like I said, that's our show for today. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really will help us to gain more viewership on the YouTube platform. Thank you again so much for listening to us, and we'll be back next week. Peace.